Hey, man.
What's up, man?
Have you ever heard of Natalia Grace?
Isn't that she's a Christian singer, right?
No, you just thought that because Grace is in her name.
No. She's a Christian singer. She's on Winter Jam.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she sings that. I got a couple of dents in my fenders. Got more dents in my fenders. I don't know the words. Cause I got a couple dents in my fenders. Got a couple rips in. That sounds like a country song when you
That's
sing
Francesca
it low.
Battistelli.
That's Francesca?
Yeah.
That's Fran?
Yeah.
Ah, me and Fran, we go.
Shut your mouth.
Things I learned last night. TILLN.
Have you ever heard of
Natalia?
Natalia Barnett?
Natalia.
Maybe you know her by Natalia Barnett.
Barnett?
Yeah.
Natalia.
What about Natalia?
There was a girl in middle school. She was a foreign exchange student. Maybe she wasn't foreign. She moved here from Russia. She moved here permanently, not a foreign exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't give them anything. Exchange. Is that how that works? Why do they call a foreign exchange student? Like, did we give them one we get one?
Was there a kid that we sent?
Yeah, who do we decide? We just like, hey, we'll trade
like a
you.
trade.
Yeah,
An MLB
I just
trade.
never thought about that.
We gave them 2 first-round picks, and they're like, first-round picks? For what?
I think we just called
What
her
are
a
we
foreign
picking?
exchange student because in like middle school we didn't have a context of how that worked. But anyway, Natalia, she was. She was our Russian girl.
Interesting.
Very thick accent. And when you get a new kid and they're either like, new kids are either like the coolest
Yep.
or like the worst.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that she was just like a goddess.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Like,
When was this?
it's 2006.
Okay, interesting.
You know, Russia wasn't as scary.
That was in that wall where Russia went from being really
From
scary to like being. It's just
Yeah,
a country
Rocky
thing.
already beat him.
Yeah.
You know, we had a few years. We're not scared of your dolls anymore. And then we got scared of their dolls again.
There we go. There we go.
We're like, you're putting these in each other?
We're what?
You're putting them in each other?
Okay.
You got another doll and you're putting it in that one? It's
All right.
rough. I don't know. I was just trying.
All right.
Dude, that's all I do. I'm just
Yep.
trying. All right. Who's Natalia Bennett?
Barnett. Natalia Barnett.
Oh, she's the founder of Barnett and Noble. Nobles.
Noble. That wasn't even an S. That was a TS. Barnett Noble.
Nobles.
Nobles.
Dude, now I'm genuinely confused on Barnes and Noble because Reagan will say words and add an S at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's the type. She doesn't say Walmart's, but like she's the kind of person that would. You know, she'll be like, "We're going over to Barnes and Nobles."
Oh gosh.
So Nobles,
Nobles.
Barnett and Nobles,
Nobles.
Nobles,
Nobles.
Barnett and Nobles.
Nobles.
Like they have it's a hardware store that has everything else
But bolts.
but bolts.
You can build anything without bolts. We don't carry them.
We don't have them.
You get their
Do they
construction advice.
really-
They're like,
they
are
re-
you using bolts?
Are you
And
using
you say,
bolts?
yeah. And they're like, get out.
Get it. Go to Lowe's.
Go to Lowe's.
Go to Lowe's, you bolty piece of garbage. Go to Lowe's, you
Son of a bolt.
son of a you bolt molt tolt. Go over there with a bolt cult. All right.
Get out of here, you bolt cultist. Incredible.
Get out of here, Troy Bolton.
Troy's not allowed in this building. Get Troy out. Get your head out of parts
Here.
of no bolts.
Barnett and no bolts. We're all in this together, except for you.
Except for you, Troy Bolton.
How about you run faster than Usain Bolt out of here? Yeah, it's rough. We're trying. Did you have a bolt today? A bolt? What is that? Is that what that? A bang? Did you have a bang today?
I did not. I heeded your warnings, and I didn't have a bang, and I took a Benadryl. So.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So.
Because I've been letting my cat in here.
Good.
So Natalia Barnett / Grace / are their names?
Natalia Grace Barnett.
Natalia Grace hyphen.
Hyphenated. Yeah, it's
Barnett.
hyphenated.
Did your wife want to hyphenate her name?
No, she told me as just to mess with me that she would, but
Just to mess with you.
we fought about it and then she didn't.
Yeah. You fought about it. The patriarchy won out. Got it.
Yes. Natalia Grace Barnett, this is a very interesting story. You actually might have heard about this. It broke last year.
Okay.
It is a person, depending on who you ask, it's either a woman or a child, who was adopted from the Ukraine.
Oh, yes. She was a foreign exchange student from the in Ukraine?
Yeah, she was adopted from the
we
Ukraine.
gave them Hunter Biden, and we got, I don't know how it works. That's the only thing I know about, So,
No.
oh, yeah, because she pretended to be like 4 or whatever.
Yeah. So the parents adopted her, thought she was 8 years old, and then theoretically she's actually 33 years old and was scamming the
Story
parents.
blows my mind, dude. Okay. I don't know any of the details. That's all I know about it is what you've said so far. But this is incredible so far.
Bro, it's so interesting. So we'll start at the beginning of the story.
Okay.
Natalia Barnett was an orphan in the Ukraine.
Natalia Barnett was born in either
planet Earth or elsewhere. That's all we know.
1987 or 2012.
Yeah, any of the above is a possibility. But she was an orphan in the Ukraine. She lived in this orphanage, and this orphanage had a really good process of figuring out how old their orphans were. What they would do.
There was a person who was there, and they would point at him and go, "You're 7."
Pretty close, actually. They would get, whenever a new orphan would show up, they would get all their kids together, and they would stand them in a line based on their height, and they would put the kid in where their height is, and they'll be like, well, this kid's 10 and this kid's 7, so you must be like 8 or something. And then they would create a legal birth certificate for this child and just make up a birthday that put them at that age.
I feel like I know what happened. And I feel like I can just see what happened already, but I want to wait for you to tell me.
And so Natalia is in this orphanage, and they're like, yeah, she's this year's old. I don't know when she joined the orphanage. I don't know when they drafted her.
She's how tall is she?
Well, here's the thing. So she is diagnosed. She has dwarfism.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that's exactly what happens. Is they're just rounding up. Short people, and they are just saying, "Here we go. Welcome to your new home." And they're all like, "We drove here. What do you think? Like, what do you? Let us go." I've got 4 kids, dude.
Yep, exactly. And so she, I don't know exactly how it happened. It's hard to find the paper trail because there really wasn't one from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
But in some sort of manner, she was adopted from someone in the Ukraine, brought to the UK, and then to the US by that family. And then that family was just like, yeah, we're kind of done with this adoption, and just put her into foster care.
Can you do that?
I don't.
They're just kind of like, yeah, no, this is a bigger commitment than we thought.
Yeah, we should have just got a puppy.
Dude, she fills her litter box every day. And it's just like, dude, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, so somehow she ends up in the U.S. and
She
in
eats a
the
lot of
foster
food.
system.
She doesn't play with any of her toys.
Yeah, she actually has a smoke break every 3 hours. A little weird. Never met an 8-year-old that does that, but I mean, she's pretty insistent on it.
Yeah, she says she's been addicted since the 90s. We don't know what that means.
Yeah, we're not sure what the 90s means. I've never heard anybody say that.
What are these 90s you speak of?
But anyway, so she gets out of that adoption, goes into the foster system in the U.S., and she lives with over 30 families through the course of this foster.
No one in the U.S. system was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting is this is another thing that we don't really have a paper trail for. If we do, it's not being released, which is odd because, the foster system's the government and theoretically they take notes.
They're not, though.
But yeah, clearly not. And so she's ends up living with like over 30 families before she's adopted in Florida by Christine and Michael Barnett.
Okay.
And so they adopt her when they think she is 8 years old. That's the age that they're told she is. And
all this time, she's still been 8?
Yes. So this whole time she's been 8 the whole time. I don't know how old she was.
30 different families. You're still 8 years old.
You're still 8. You're 8.
You've been in here for 14 years.
I'm 8. The Ukrainian orphan lady said I'm 8.
I'm like, okay.
It's like a piece of paper with some crayon.
Yeah, like, I'm 8.
She didn't write it. The orphanage lady wrote it, though. Like, it's not my handwriting. That's written in crayon. It's legal tenure in the U.S.
In the Ukraine, that's how they do it.
In the Ukraine, yeah. The UK. Ukraine.
Okay.
So she was adopted in Florida in 2010, and the parents thought she was 8 when they adopted her. And this family is really interesting.
Which would mean she's 18 now.
Theoretically.
Okay.
Theoretically.
Right.
And so she was adopted by this family, and it really quickly got a little odd because this family already had 3 young boys, one of which was autistic. We'll get to that in a minute. But things started to just be kind of strange with Natalia. Because the mother, Christine, started just noticing some stuff that was a little odd. She seemed to act in strange ways for a kid her age, seemed to be more like mentally mature than most kids her age, which you would kind of expect. Like 30 foster families, like came from the Ukraine to the UK to the US. Like she's lived a lot of life in her long 8 years. In her 28 years. And so she talks, she acts like a full-blown adult, but she's 8 years old, is what they think. And then somehow Christine starts to notice that Natalia had already gone through puberty, and she's like, so she's already done puberty. Like she claims she's menstruating and like all this different stuff, and she's like she has to be at least a couple of years older than we think she is. At least 7.
At least, I mean, she's born.
She's at least a human. And so she's older than we think she is.
Yeah, no, she's definitely, teenager.
Yeah, at least a teenager. But that didn't, that wasn't super weird to her. They knew she had a kind of fuzzy past. Don't know exactly. Like, she's probably a little older than we thought, But then Natalia starts acting really strange. Like she wanted to kill the family. And so she would
well, I think everybody goes through that phase around 21, 22, where you're like, you know what? My parents, I could kill them.
I'm going to off them.
I'm just going to take them out.
Just take them down. Yeah, she started putting invisible thumbtacks, like not invisible, but like clear thumbtacks on the stairs. So they would step on these thumbtacks while they would walk up the stairs. Like
she started Home Alone. She started Home Alone her parents.
Take these people down. Yeah, so she started.
And they see that and they go, you know what? This is what a capable adult would do.
She's too intelligent.
She's a full-blown adult.
This smart.
How old was Kevin McCallister?
He was 28 at the time.
Yeah, I believe that, actually. Child actors are, they make them look young.
She supposedly pushed Christine into an electric fence, which I don't know what the context of that, where they were, where there was an electric fence.
Did you that have walk that you had to... Christine, let's go for a walk today. And she's like, okay, do you want to go the normal route? Let's go a new route. You just passed this electric fence?
She's like, where are we? It's like, there's a military base here.
She's like, welcome to Jurassic Park. And just pushes her into the electric fence. But it's like at Universal Studios, so it's not a real electric fence. But the idea is there, you know?
It like makes the sound, but it doesn't actually shock you.
She's like, it doesn't matter if it's a real electric fence or a fake electric fence. The point is that she tried to push me into what she thought was a real electric fence. And that's the point, okay? Because it doesn't matter if it's real or fake. What matters is the intent was there.
Natalia pushes her in and like it makes the buzzing sound, and then Christine just gets back up and Natalia walks away. She's like, she's impervious to electricity. Christine is invincible.
And then Christine's like, that kind of resentment only happens in 33-year-olds. So like, this is a full-blown adult.
So get this. She also apparently spiked Christine's coffee with bleach. She apparently dumped some bleach in Christine's coffee.
Hello, Christine.
Why don't you try this coffee? It's a new.
Would you like to try?
It's a new blend.
No, not you, Michael. Just Christine.
It's bleach blonde is what I call it. It's a bleach blonde roast.
I hate that so much. Gosh. Yeah. So she's like,
yeah, and supposedly they would wake up in the middle of the night.
Is she Googling ways to kill them? Like, is this just...
I don't know. They apparently didn't check their search history.
She didn't think there's a whole thing of steak knives.
Well, actually, they would wake up in the middle of the night. She'd be standing over their bed with a knife and just standing there. And they'd wake up and they'd be like, go to bed. And she'd be like, walk down those stairs, why don't you?
Why don't you? Walk down those stairs, why don't you? What is she, like a northerner now? She's just from North Dakota? She's like, hey, how about you? Why don't you just walk on those stairs? Why don't you? Huh?
Like,
why don't you take a little gander over there?
Walk down there.
Huh? Take a little trot down the stairs. Why don't you? Yeah? Oh, it's a little bit dangerous, don't you know?
So all of this starts to freak the family out so much.
That's what, they put up with knives. Dude, if I have a kid or adopt a kid or marry somebody, if at any point I wake up in the middle of the night and someone that I know is standing in my room with a knife, I'm out. I'm moving. I'm going into witness protection program and
moving to Ukraine.
Changing
my age.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Where in the line should I stand?
Yeah, I can't wait to see who they trade for me. You know, I'll be like, let's see how this exchange goes. What's the exchange rate for
a
this?
Human?
Yeah, for a human,
for an adult human.
I just think that's definitely that makes sense. Where they're like, yeah, actually, this is weird.
Yeah, they're like, this is odd. Yeah, so the whole thing is just...
So she was actually only in the foster system for 30 days because that's 30 different families.
Get her out. Get her out.
No,
get her out.
Something's... You know, like we're foster parents, so we're prepared for some weird stuff. And we've seen some... And honestly, foster parents are heroes, so they put up with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, the 30th family was like, hey, told the care specialist that picked her up that day, was like, hey, here's an idea. Take those thumbtacks out of her bag.
Guys, I know it's like a whole thing where they get to keep their possessions, but can we like limit what the possessions are?
Just get rid of the thumbtacks.
We caught her the other day talking to the old man next door trying to get him to hit us in the face with a shovel. And then like I woke up in the middle of the night, she had a knife and she said, keep the change, you filthy animal. Why don't you? I was like, oh, this is weird.
This is strange. Okay. So her parents, her adoptive parents are like, well, this is weird. Michael and Christine are like, let's take her to a psychiatrist to like get her checked out. And so she goes through this therapy.
How many times will you let your kid try to kill you before you take him to a psychologist?
That's a good question.
Like
how many attempts?
How many times is like a... You know, because they've had the conversation. They're sitting over their bleach blonde coffee. And they're sitting there in the morning like, we got to do something about Natalia. She's trying to kill us, you know? And then one of them was like, it's just a phase, you know?
It's just a phase. She'll grow out of it.
But then like by the 20th time, you're like, we should probably
I don't taste this coffee.
I Googled and I don't see any articles about this. Like, and listen, Christine, your diffuser's not helping. Okay, like the oils aren't doing anything.
Yeah, literally nothing's happening. We got to take her in.
If get her some real help. Making it worse. Okay.
So they take her to a psychiatrist. After a few appointments, they actually diagnose her with this version of sociopathy that they actually only diagnose adults with. And the psychiatrist made a big deal about it. He's like, hey, this is my diagnosis, and we only give this diagnosis to adults. And
he's trying to be like, we only give that to adults. And they're like, but how did our kid get it? And he's like, we only give that to adults. And they're like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Our child is so unique.
She's so advanced.
Yeah. We only give that to adults. And they're like, wow, she's really grown up for her age.
So following the recommendation from the psychiatrist, they take her to a doctor who gives her a bone scan. The bone scan reveals that she's 21 years old. So by this point, they've moved to Indiana. They go to the Indiana courts, and they legally change her birth date. So she's now 21 years old.
Okay, so that's how I saw the article.
Yeah.
Was people saying like, oh, now 8-year-olds can just decide they're 21? And it was like, because that's how I saw it. Was like, this is what the liberal societies do. That Bill Cosby had a lot to say about it, apparently. He was like, and they're like, you should focus on your own trial, buddy. And he was like, I've got some thoughts. And no, but I just saw people sharing it on social media, and they were this is... Okay, so that's the first I'd heard of it, but I hadn't heard of it in the context of even that she was adopted or anything like that. I just heard like, these parents think their 8-year-old is 21. Where does it stop? Where does it?
Exactly.
I bet she's allowed to use the 21-year-old restroom. Like, what is that one, dude? Is the toilet water alcoholic? Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Hey, we got to go to this club tonight. They've got a really cool bathroom. The toilet is Tennessee honey.
Bro, the duvet? Is that what it is? No, that's not. The duvet is the thing that goes in your bed. What's it called?
You're right.
What's it called? Alex?
What is it?
It starts with a B?
Bajan?
What's it called when the water shoots up your butt?
Sprayer.
Oh, man.
Bidet.
Duvet. Okay,
bidet.
Duvet is the thing that goes on your bed. Bidet
is the thing that goes...
I love you. Just stop. He's got the thing that goes... Yeah, dude, we should go to this club. They got cranberry vodka bidet over there. And like, it just hits different, Yeah. I'm sorry I said that.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
So they go to court. They legally change her age. Now this is based on the evidence of the bones
of the bone marrow scan.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they were like, okay, she is older
She's 21.
than we thought.
Yeah. Do we have anything of like what her statement was? Are we gonna get there?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, good.
So in 2014, after they
I
found out,
imagine they go to the doctor, they get the bone scan, and they're like, actually, she's 21, and the parents look at each other and like it all like, how in a movie it all flashes back, and they just flash back to that counselor who's just like, we only diagnose adults. It's like echoing in their head, and they're like, oh, and then she's over there like. growling. She's like, they got me. Like, dude, she looks like a corn stalker right now.
What's happening? So in 2014, they ended up deciding they were no longer willing to look after someone that they thought was an adult. And so what they did is they furnished and rented out an apartment in Lafayette, Indiana, and got a bunch of food stamps and left them there, and left Natalia there and went to Canada.
Okay, now, hear me out. I think if my actual 8-year-old was putting bleach in my coffee and like standing over me with a knife at night, and like trying to kill me, and then was also growling. I too would like just get an apartment, not in a good one either. I get a
pretty shady spot.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, I'm like, I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
and then that's like, I mean, that's that's a lot like dropping kittens off on the side of the road.
That's pretty
rough.
It's a pretty rough thing to do. Yeah, and so
because like then the argument is like, what if this is an actual 11-year-old?
What if this really is a kid? Yeah, so they paid rent for a little while from Canada. They paid online.
Pieced out.
And then after a little bit, they stopped paying rent for the apartment, and Natalia was evicted because she wasn't paying rent.
Right.
Obviously,
she didn't have a job.
She didn't have mode of transport because, I mean, she's legally 21 now, so she could go get her license, but she also just hasn't, and she doesn't have a car. And so she gets evicted. She has nothing, and she ends up moving out on the street. Meanwhile, Christine and Michael are in Canada. They get a divorce. And
in Canada?
In Canada. Yes.
I hear Canadian marriages don't last. I've never heard that actually. I'm just being dumb.
And so she, Natalia, found this school for adults that they can go back and get their GED. So she enrolled and started working on her GED. Like to try to like get back on the right path. But quickly dropped out of that, and was discovered by another family who adopted her on the spot. And so she has now lived with them for 6 years. And then they went back. This family believes her story that she is actually a child. So they took her back and they got her checked, like re-examined, and they found that she's actually 16 years old when this family got her. Or like today she would be 16 years old. So at that time she would have been like 11 or 12. And this family went and legally changed her birth certificate again. So now she is 11 legally once again, like when they got her. A few years went by. You seem confused.
I don't have any thoughts, mostly because I just can't put them together. So she gets left in the box on the side of the road, right?
Well, an apartment.
Figuratively. All right. I assume there's a road. So she gets in this apartment.
Yeah.
Gets left there.
Yeah.
Okay. As a 21-year-old.
Yes.
Okay. And then she signs up to get her GED.
Yes.
That doesn't work out because she tried to kill a teacher. And then this family meets her somehow.
Yeah.
Just like she's at the
They literally
supermarket.
said that they met her like she was sitting on the stoop of some other like apartment complex, just sitting on the stoop. And she struck up a conversation, told them their story, and they adopted her on the spot.
And they were like, "You're ours now."
Yeah.
And we don't see a collar, so I guess you're a stray.
They called animal control and chipped her.
Yeah, I just...
Does she have a chip?
Like the whole thing sounds like... I mean, obviously the whole situation is sad, a little heartbreaking for her.
Yeah.
Also, just very confusing.
Yes.
They find her and they go, "You're coming home with us." They blindsided her.
It's a Christian family.
So now she plays football. All right. She's going to play for the Baltimore Ravens.
She's really good at it.
She's like a freak at it, dude. Like she's like putting thumbtacks on the field and stuff. Like, dude, it's like she's taking out it. Other teams are afraid. She's growling all the time.
Yeah. Spitting bleach in people's eyes.
They can't figure out which grade she plays in, though. Because some games she plays for the middle schoolers, some games she plays varsity. Like it's just all back and forth. But so then so when she's found, she's probably like 22.
Yeah.
And then they change it to be 11.
Yeah. Yep.
They find her and they say she's 11.
Yep.
We found this 11-year-old girl.
Yep.
who also might be 22.
Yep.
What year is that? 2014?
It would, 2014.
Okay. Okay, continue. I'm caught up now. I was just
There you
very. So now, in 2014, she's 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They adopted her. She's lived there for 6 years now.
Yeah, she's lived there for 6 years. In
Now
2019,
she's 16.
Now she's 16. In 2019, legally,
She
she's
got her
16.
license again.
Yeah. And so in 2019, the story comes together, and they actually go back and they press charges on the Barnett family.
For abandonment.
For abandonment.
Yeah.
For felony abandonment. And so...
But at that time, she was legally 22.
Yes.
So does the law uphold?
Yes. So there is a law that says if you claim a disabled dependent at whatever age, they can be 75.
Okay,
if you abandon them, it's still felony abandonment.
Yep. Yeah.
And so because she has the disability, it doesn't matter if she's an adult or a child. It's still felony abandonment.
Got it.
Because they left her in a situation where she wasn't able to care for herself. And so no matter who's wrong, they're still in the wrong. But the Barnetts, they turn themselves in. They're like super cool about it. They go to the jail. They post bail, and they get ready for all their court appearances. They start going.
Say they're super cool about it.
I mean, like,
like they turn themselves in. They're super chill about it.
like, yeah, I did it. What's up?
They roll in like.
What up?
They look at each other
Here for
like
jail.
Like I haven't seen you in years. Let's catch
Should we
up.
make a TikTok real
Should
quick?
we should we do a selfie video or I don't know, dude. My new girlfriend's over here. I don't know. She's bailing me out. Who's bailing you out? Like it's a competition.
Yeah.
Like ex-wife and
Yeah.
husband.
So then when the court
Turn themselves
starts,
in the United States.
they
had
would
to
have
come
came
to
back. They
Indiana?
came from Canada, went back to it's in Indiana, the trials.
Okay.
So they went back in there. And everybody starts putting their documents together, putting in the reports, and this is when it hits the news. And you start getting all these reports from both sides, and it starts to get really interesting here because it starts to get really tough to figure out who's actually telling the truth now.
Right.
Which happens in court.
It feels like it's tough the whole time to figure out what the truth is.
Well, just you wait. And so a little bit of backstory on the Barnetts. I mentioned they had an autistic son.
Yes.
Christine Barnett, just a few years prior to adopting Natalia, she wrote this book called The Spark. And it actually became a huge hit. Like the Washington Post was writing about it. She was on 60 Minutes for it.
Is that the one where God's a woman?
Yeah. No. So this book was a big deal because she apparently had some good experience with educating with kids because she owned a preschool in Florida, and this preschool they changed their curriculum. The best way I could describe this preschool would be essential oils. The
school. Essential oils. School's out.
Like literally, the curriculum was just ridiculous. Like it was all about loving kids, but it worked really, really good for autistic kids. And so
it worked real good.
It worked
really good.
Yeah, it worked real good there.
It worked really well for autistic children.
And so it became a really sought after school among essential oils moms, and they all wanted to bring their kids there.
Yeah.
She got pretty successful.
They were all like, "You should take your kid to that school. It works." They're like, and if you enroll your kid, and then they can recruit 3 other kids,
then you'll be a millionaire.
Your tuition's free.
They'll give you $1 million.
They'll give you $1 million to spend 1 million essential oils bucks. EOBs.
EOBs is what I like to call them.
To spend at the gift shop at the school.
And you can buy a car that says essential oils on the side. It's pink.
Yeah, it's like the Scholastic book fair, but the only book is The Spark.
So she writes the book The Spark, and it's all about her journey with her autistic son. Yeah. And so she all of a sudden becomes this unqualified expert on parenting disabled children. And so
because she has no degree in it.
She has no degree. Yeah. She just owned the
The preschool. It also has an autistic child.
Has an autistic child.
Yeah.
But
so what you're saying is she's got hands-on experience.
Yeah.
And is completely unqualified.
Yes, exactly. And so she
Cool.
becomes like relatively famous after the production of this book. A lot of people are buying it. It's in a lot of major publications, ranking pretty high on bestseller lists. It's not like a number one, but
and Michael's
it's
just watching this.
Yeah, Michael's just hanging out. He's on for the ride.
Well, no, because they're divorced. And he's just like watching. He's like, half of that could have been mine.
This is long before the divorce.
Oh, this is?
This is before they even had Natalia.
Oh, so he got half that money.
Yeah.
Good on you, Michael. All right. And he started Survivor. Is that the same Barnett?
That's a good question.
It's not the same Barnett.
Yeah, so they this is
He's
before
like,
Natalia.
I'm gonna take my Spark earnings and I'm gonna start a new game show. You'll see.
You'll see.
All right. She's like, dude, you're obsessed with Bear Grylls. He's like, I'm obsessed with Bear Grylls. All right, I'll show you who's obsessed with Bear Grylls. Does anybody want to sign up to pretend to be Bear Grylls for 3 months in the woods? And the person who could be the best Bear Grylls
Best Bear Grylls wins.
wins these Bear Grylls.
They look like
I don't know why I did it. I hate
Each
it.
tooth is a golden bear.
Yeah. That's what I was envisioning. I was envisioning like, gummy bears, but gold. And then there's like, Bear Grylls. You get it? I'll Photoshop it when I have all my free time.
Here, I'm getting you.
There you go. That's a good
There's
shot.
a frame. There's a frame.
That's a
for
good
it.
frame to put Bear Grylls. Yeah, I'm just gonna take out all your teeth. Actually, that's what I'm gonna green screen your mouth. And you're just gonna look at the camera like, there's nothing.
Yeah. So, and
Okay, so she's this famous person now.
this famous person, and it becomes kind of clear that the organization that they adopted her through in Florida was a little shady.
Yeah.
What
I would
they
imagine
think,
so.
What they think was that they kind of, when they saw Christine was coming in to like look for kids to adopt, they were like, let's get her this one. Let's make this story because she's gonna fall for it like right away and like be like, oh, it's my project. I need to help her. I need to save her.
Like they profiled her based on interesting.
And
they were greasy salesmen
Yep.
of got it.
Of adoption.
Of children, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's a real thing that happens. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, and so she adopts them, and it's as you're going through the court cases, everybody keeps coming back to like she is this qualified like super parent, like so she should be able to handle all of Natalia. Like
If anybody could,
it'd be her.
it's the person who wrote a book about it.
Yeah, and so everybody's acting like she should be qualified and all
She
this.
write a
like,
new book called Parenting Natalia.
She should write a new book called The Bleach. The Spark and the Bleach. No, it should just be The Spark, the time I got sparked.
Oh, stop. I don't like that. I don't like that one. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then of course there's all of the claims of the psychiatrist, the bone density scans, like
then
all
you got to
this-
get all those professionals in there, and no one's gonna like the story's just not coming out.
Well, here's where when we look at Natalia's side of the story,
Yeah, I was gonna
it
say.
gets
Then she starts talking.
Yeah.
Then she's like, "Well, I'm 47, so." I always thought it was weird that people who were younger than me were raising me.
She was like, I was working at a Denny's, and this guy came and was like, hey, how would you like to get adopted?
You want to go to America?
He's like, don't you miss childhood? You can try it again. I've got a plan.
That's awful.
She's like, I'm just a waitress at Denny's. I'm living an honest life. And he's like,
Denny's in Ukraine?
why don't you try a dishonest life? Yeah, so.
Do they have Denny's in Ukraine? Is it the Ukraine? Is it like, no, it's just Ukraine, right?
Yeah, Denny's is not like, what is that, Ohio State? The Ohio State.
No, I didn't think the Denny's.
No, Ukraine. The Ukraine.
I have something in my eye. I keep trying to get it out.
You need some help? You need to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, will you poke it out?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Just cut to him so they can't see me doing this. Or cut straight to me if you're really mean. But
So as you look at Natalia's story, she talks about how her parent, the
Remember that time you pulled a piece of meat out of your eye? Did that happen?
yeah. I was eating a breakfast burrito and I sneezed. And the ham got in my eye canal. It was the craziest thing.
Eye canal?
It was the craziest thing. I had so much egg in my nose. I had to pull the egg out. I blew all the egg out my nose.
Sneeze. Ham.
And there was that little chunk of ham that came out of my eye. It was like one of those sneezes that sneaks up on you. You know, a sneaky sneeze. And I was like, achoo. And then I was like, oh gosh.
Oh,
my face.
man.
My nose was literally swollen with eggs.
And you were like, well, I didn't, that's why we call you omelet face.
Call me Timlet.
Timlet. There you go. Oh my gosh. There's a full piece of ham coming out of your eye. Oh, you messing with your eye? You got your contact messed up? Oh, yeah, I wish that was it.
Yeah, I wish.
I got a full Christmas ham in here. And in this one, I got some mashed potatoes and gravy.
I just can't get him to
I'm
stop.
gonna pull the cornbread out of my ears.
Yeah, that was the worst. I would not recommend that to anyone. It was awful. It hurt so bad.
The sodium is what hurt.
Actually, yeah, the salt and the pepper on them, that sucked.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Which was worse in your eyes? The mace or the ham?
100% the mace. I would take the ham over the mace any day.
Oh my gosh.
Ham me in the face. I'm going to ham you right in the eyes.
Dude, I suggest that if you're a girl in your 20s and or you're 16 and people think you're in your 20s, you should not carry mace around for it. Just carry just a ham slices, you know? And you just like, dude, just Death Starring ham slices at people. Just you know how magicians, you know magicians and their like stupid card tricks they do,
yeah.
and they just flip
the
cards, you know. You just got a card, you got a card box of ham, all right? And you're just like, hey, buddy,
you came to the wrong parking garage tonight.
You want to pick a slice, any slice? Is this your card? Bah! You're just like hamming people in the face. How do you go to the police and report that assault?
Yeah, some lady just threw a bunch of sliced ham at me.
Officer, I'm not physically injured. I just feel emotionally scarred after what's happened.
Get past this.
He's like, swine about it. You're like, no! Okay. It's like a slow-mo. Like, you know, it's pretty rough.
Every time he walks into the grocery store, he walks by the deli and he's like...
He can't even go to that part of the store anymore. He's a vegetarian now. It's like that. That's how vegans came about. People were slapping people in the face with ham.
He walks into Jimmy John's. He's like, hey, so what's your favorite sandwich here? And the guy's like, ham. And he's like,
hey, dude, will you hand me that? Did you say hand me that?
Oh, it's just a hand-me-down. Incredible.
I'm done with this. It's a hand-me-down.
So Natalia, towards the end of last year,
yeah,
sat down in an exclusive interview,
60 minutes,
with Dr. Phil.
Oh, yes, that's one of the best news breaks. Man, first of all, that guy needs to shave the side of his head. I think Dr. Phil needs to commit to the ball.
It's a brand.
Oh, okay, but it's like, dude, like just commit to it because you got the head for it.
Yeah.
Like you're fine. And also we can tell that's fake hair on the side. If you're going to do fake hair, do it all over.
Thing. It's his brand. He's got to stick to the brand.
If you're going to do the fake hair, just do all the
fake hair. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think there needs to here's the real question. Who's the Dr. Phil for Dr. Phil? You know,
who takes care of him? Who makes sure he doesn't go around?
Well, I know who
to catch me outside.
It's Robin. Okay, Robin, his wife, and her.
Robin Phil.
Have you ever been to a Dr.
Her
Phil
last name is
taping?
Phil, right?
Robin Phil. Yes.
Robin Phil.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Phil's first name.
Not to be confused with the store that doesn't have prices, where you just go in and you just rob and fill your bag. But Robin Phil. It's right next to Barnett and No Bones. This is out of
People
control.
coming. He's like, this isn't Rob and Phil.
He's
You
like-
have to pay for your things. And no, we don't sell bolts.
So you have to play for your things.
You have to play for your things.
You have to play. Go down the slide.
Go down the slide, or you can't have this timber.
The checkout line's at the end of the slide. I promise. How am I supposed to fit this buzzsaw down the side?
It'll slide, I promise.
It'll go. All right. The slide's big enough. We made it. But it's gonna fall apart if it's bolts. Now bolt it together. So every time you go, just and someone's like, you know what would fix this? And he's like, I swear, if you say bolts, I swear, I'm gonna slap you in the face with a ham. If you say bolts right now,
just tape it. Tape it.
So yeah, so Rob and Phil is next door, and then Rob and Phil. That's who's taking care of Dr. Phil.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, so she gets interviewed with Dr. Phil,
obviously,
accompanied by her.
and the whole
new
time
parents.
he's like, I've done forensic psychology for 40 years. He's been saying that for 40 years. Every episode he has to bring up, he's like, well, I did forensic psychology for 40 years. And they're like, dude, I'm pretty sure you're a 16-year-old Ukrainian girl.
So she, on this interview, she brings her new family with her, and her new family's there for
She's got
support.
what are their names?
New family.
Michael and Christine.
and Christine. Arnett.
Arnett.
Drop the B.
And you're like, oh. Yeah, and he's like, my brother's not Will. Leave it alone, okay?
Yeah, he's like, stop asking me. So in this interview, she talks about, and supposedly all of this
Did
is
the
like,
old family come with?
No, the old family is still in
They were
trial.
like, Dr. Phil, okay.
Yeah, let me know when you get 60 minutes.
Well, Dr. Oz or nothing. You're like, oh, that's not the same.
This doesn't. And so she sheds light onto the situation, and she claims that all of this is being discussed in the court case. But I mean, the court case is
What
a
does she
closed
look
case. I can show you real quick.
Because I don't think I would like to have a picture of her in my head.
Yeah,
and
let
also
me get you an image.
also in front of my eyes if I could. That would be great.
Hold on. I'll pull up a picture. Let me see if I can get. Okay, here we go. Open image in a new tab. Here we go. I'll pull it over. Hold on.
Oh, remember that? Remember when I told you to put it on? Oh, there we go. You. For our audio listeners, pull up a picture of John Chris. That was so funny.
The
Ow.
one on the right. She's the one on the right here.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you told me which one she is.
Well, some people think she's 33 years old, so I didn't want you to look at the one on the left and say, yeah, she's definitely not a child.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled this picture because she's the one on the right. Obviously. I hurt right now. That hurts me.
Yeah, that's good.
Gosh. Yeah, obviously she's the one on the right. All right. Her mom looks like me with a wig. Just call me Christine Arnett. Look at her though. If if I squint my eyes, it's hard to do. You look like you got ham in your eye right now.
I'm sorry, I got ham in my eye.
I feel like I'm totally off the rails on this. Oh my gosh.
Did you have a bang?
I didn't. My gosh, man. My abs hurt. Oh, gosh. Good. Get those pictures out of here.
I honestly can't. I tried for a minute. Her new...
You can't find the X. It's too far away.
The mouse lags over there and I can't catch it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it does.
And it's I can't.
I see.
I lost it.
You just collect all tabs, dude. Can't you just collect your windows?
No.
You're fine. Whatever.
To stay.
That's funny. Gosh, that's so good.
Her new family, their names are Antoine and Cynthia Manns. The Manns family.
Okay.
And so on this interview with Dr. Phil, she talks about how she's like, honestly, I never saw a psychiatrist when I was with the Barnetts. She's like, I did go in for a surgery, but I needed to have for
her boots.
Okay. She's like, I went into for a surgery that I had to have for my condition, and after the surgery, was when they did the bone density scan, and she's like, that scan came back. She's like, I've got the paperwork. That scan came back and said I was the age that I said I was. And she's like, but they said that it said I was 21. And so they went and legally changed my age.
Wait, so she's saying that the Barnetts lied.
Yeah, she's saying the Barnetts lied. And she's saying that
during this interview, she's claiming to be 16 still.
Yeah.
Got
and
it.
she says that the Barnetts made up everything about the bleach, about the thumbtacks, the fence. She's like, none of that happened. Literally none of that happened. And she was like, the only thing that happened was the bleach, and here's how it happened. She said that her Christine.
I was going to do some laundry, and then their coffee was there, and I tripped, and it just sprinkled in.
It just got some bleach in the coffee. No, here's what happened. She said that Christine Barnett told her that she came to Natalia and was like, Natalia, why did you spike my coffee with bleach? And Natalia's like, I didn't do that. And she was like, yeah, watch, this is what you did. And she took the coffee. She's like, hold the coffee mug. And she holds the coffee mug, and she's like, now hold the bleach. And she's like, now grab it and pour it in. And so she's pouring it in, and she takes a picture. She's like, now I have photographic evidence of you spiking my coffee with bleach. Spiking my bleach with coffee. Does all of our clothes smell like coffee? This is terrible.
All my white shirts are tan. Not sure what happened, but
it's a little odd.
Yep.
Natalia,
did you do this?
Did you do this?
I've got photographic evidence.
I've got photographic evidence
of you doing
this.
Wait, so she has pictures of her pouring bleach into coffee?
Yeah.
And you're not going to go, how'd you get that close-up shot?
That picture, yeah.
That's a pretty good angle you got there, Christine.
That's what Natalia said. She's like, it's not like it's a picture where she's in the other room, catching the shot of me.
Like she's straight up,
it's literally over her shoulder. It's like, well, tell me about how that happened.
Do we have that picture? Does that picture exist?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's in the court.
It's like a court thing.
Yeah. It's still an active case, so we're missing a lot of.
Now, I will say her face does not look, 16 there.
Yeah, she does look a little older. I will agree with that.
But I'm just looking. I was trying to see her boots. Is she? Yeah. Those are big. Those are big boots.
I don't know.
There's no picture of the bleach.
No, I don't see any.
That makes sense that it's still a court document. But one day we'll have a documentary about this, right?
Oh, surely. And so what she says is she's got all the documents saying that she's actually the age that she says. She says that she has something from the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital, which I don't know why that's funny to me. It just is. That Peyton Manning has a children's hospital.
That Peyton Manning cares about the next generation. Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's really, anyways, but the doctor who did her what's the word I'm looking for? Surgery. I don't know why I forgot that.
The doctor that did her homework for her. All right.
That doesn't sound right. He said that it was really unfortunate because they couldn't finish because they bought all their supplies from Barnes and Noble, so they didn't have the pulse. No, he said she was approximately 8 years old at the time of the procedure that he did.
Okay.
And so we
have conflicting professional opinions.
Yes.
And then one conflicting unqualified professional opinion.
Yes. And both sides are claiming that they have documentation, but we can't see the documentation because it's an open trial. So both sides are saying we've got documentation of this happening, yada, yada, yada. And so here's to me where everything gets very interesting. When you look at the reviews of the book that Christine
on
wrote.
Amazon.
Yes, this is how I know that Christine's the liar. This
is the Amazon reviews.
It's the Amazon reviews.
Okay.
So when you read, let me just read you this one. The writing isn't great, but I'm willing to overlook that. Except for she's so boastful and braggy, I don't think I can finish this book. The title is Ugh, Just Ugh. And there are an incredible amount of reviews that talk about how she's a major egomaniac. It's just a book talking about how awesome she is and how she's the best parent in the world. Anybody who says a positive thing is saying, like, hold on, let me see
how much they love her. What's the rating out of 5 stars?
It's ironic. It has a 4.5 rating, but you look at a lot of those positive ratings. There's a lot of negative ratings where they say like she's an egomaniac.
How many
she's
ratings are there total?
730.
Okay.
So there's a lot. And it's so interesting. Hold on, let me see this one. The people
That's all they wrote?
Yeah, it was like very odd review.
You're like, oh, weird. I mean, it's an astute point, but maybe not all the way thought out. Not very articulate.
It was a little not great writing.
If they wanted to be articulate, they would have gone. Nah, it's such a soft.
And like this one is a positive review, but she says it's just an interesting story. She's like, this isn't an expert opinion. She's not a psychologist. She's not a counselor. She has nothing like to really back up her points other than she parented an autistic child. She's like, it's interesting, is what she said, but she was like, it wasn't like a good point, like a book to like learn something from. You know, there was one I saw and I'm frustrated I can't find it. I think. Hold on. No. So here's a positive one, and a lot of the positive ones take this sort of a bend. It says, I thoroughly recommend that anyone with a child who struggles with a mainstream education regime read this book.
Got it. Yeah. No, I understand now. I get it now. Yeah.
So that's the people who love this book.
Yeah. That makes sense to me, actually. I highly recommend that anyone who believes that the public education system is out to get us read this book, which I have given 5 stars. Like, whoa. Dude, the longer we do this podcast, the more I start to feel bad for people who listen. Because like we got a lot of people who listen who don't watch the YouTube version of this, and like on the YouTube version we're just like making faces and stuff, but on the sound version we're just and like this is in their car, you know, and maybe you're showing a friend this podcast for the first time. If you're the friend,
I promise it's normally funnier than this,
and you've listened to this far, this is what it is. So this is like the best we've got. And this is an actual representation of everything we do.
It's like, you know, when you're at a stoplight and you pull up next to that guy, his windows are down and he's like jamming out to a song and you like turn and you're like, I like that song too.
Yeah. It's but for you guys, you're at a stoplight right now. Your windows are down because it's, you know, it's getting warmer outside. And like the car next to you just hears, and they're like, oh, all right. Well, that's
my jam.
Huh. Interesting. What I too love death metal. What is that? I would give that song a 4.5. Because just like my favorite book, The Spark.
The Spark 2. I was sparked too.
The Spark The spark to I was sparked to is just too much for me.
Anyways, it is it's an interesting story. At the end of it, Dr. Phil did a post interview with the news, and they asked him, they were like, "Do you think what do you think?" And he said, he's like, "I think that she's a child, and I think that this whole situation got blown out of proportion."
Wow.
Here's what's interesting to me. It's too fishy to me that right when she lost her apartment, she found another family to get adopted by.
It's a little odd.
And I think that this time around, this family claims that she
found her on a stoop.
Yeah, and this family claims that she hasn't tried to kill them or done anything with thumbtacks or electric fences or anything. But she learned from her experience. She was like, "That's a good way to get kicked out of the family." And so this time she's like, "I just won't try to kill them."
Yeah. The counterpoint to that, though, is that maybe Christine's crazy. I kind of want to read a little bit of the book.
Christine does sound a little crazy.
She sounds a little odd.
I will say, yeah.
And it's very possible that, because how long did she live with the Barnetts?
Quite a few years. I think she was adopted actually when she was 6. She stayed there till legally she was 6.
Yeah.
She stayed there till legally she was 21. So that's 15 years.
Okay. All right. You're the worst person I've ever met in my entire life. She was there for a few years.
Yeah, she was there for.
I think that it's possible that during that time, Christine realizes this is not good for my brand.
Yeah, maybe actually.
I mean, genuinely,
That's actually
because
possible.
I've met a few authors and people who are. I'm not going to say Christine's crazy because I don't know her. I haven't read this book. I don't know enough about her, but I know that there's definitely that vein of people who. Maybe they got into it, realized this is too much, and I have a whole reputation on how good of a parent I am, and I can't do this.
Yeah.
So maybe we create some lies, some plausible things. We're missing some paperwork here. Maybe we fudge a little bit. So I can see on both sides how you get there. But we don't have an actual consensus.
That's what's really interesting. You can really kind of see both sides of this. You're like, I could see Christine being a crazy person. I could see Natalia being a crazy person. It is fishy
that, as soon as she was out, she had another thing. But I mean, if she meets somebody through the GED program.
Yeah, the people at the GED program, too, we actually have statements from them saying that she seemed like an adult. They were like, she seemed like someone who was 21. She acted like someone who was 21.
Competent.
She didn't act like a 10-year-old that she would have legally been.
See, that's the thing where I'm going
Everyone in that era... when she was with the Barnetts to write post-art Barnetts say that she didn't act like she didn't want to play with toys, she didn't want to spend time with other girls her age, she spoke more like a teenager than a child. They were like, she seems older. And who knows, maybe she's just a little bit more mature, but I don't know. There's both sides of it are just so you can't know for sure until we can see those actual documents.
Right.
You really can't say for sure who's the one telling the truth, who's the one lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, it's kind of like how you snuck into Evangel when you were 12.
Yeah, I did do that. You're right.
Yeah.
I said.
And you convinced a lot of people. You married Bree, and you're 13 years younger than her. So
yeah, I'm seriously 15. This is
10 years younger, I guess.
This is the same guy who does Dr. Phil does my beard.
Do you have a reference? Could I? Dude, it's not coming in, man. I've been waiting a while.
I don't. I'm not allowed to reference them actually legally.
Legally?
You got to keep it pretty quiet.
Legally, I'm never allowed to say it's okay. I'll tell you where it is though. You know where it is. All right.
Tell me.
Yeah, you know Barnett and Nobaltz?
Okay, yeah.
And then Ramen Phil.
Yep.
It's in that same strip.
Okay.
All right. It's called, I can't tell you what it's called.
Yeah.
But it rhymes.
Okay.
With, I thought you were going to come up with it. I don't know. I was like, I was trying to coax you into saying the business
I was
name.
waiting for you. I was waiting for you to tell me what it rhymes with.
I don't know what it is. You're the one.
I'm not sure
You're the one
what
who
it is.
got facial hair, bro.
I'm not allowed to say. Here's what I can tell you.
I was trying to coax it out of you because I don't know where you got it done.
So between Barnett and Nobolts.
Yes.
And Rob and Phil.
Yes.
There's that like strip of like entertainment places. There's like a couple bars. There's that axe throwing place.
Yes.
And there's that place where like it's kind of like a mix between like a Guitar Center and like a bowling alley where it's like competitive like musicians.
Or you like just throw guitars down.
No. But it's like
Or
competitive.
actually, instead of pins, we just used musicians who thought they were going to get signed. All right, but then when they gave up on their dreams, they just turned into a bowling pin, and we just throw
the BC Witches.
We throw all the CDs that they tried to sell, and slices of ham.
Slices of ham at their face. No, it's that place. It's like you can like jump on the drum set, and like you and the two drum sets, you have like a drum off. It's called Fiddle Off.
See, there you go.